Yeah.
use from when I was pregnant with my kids to when I breastfed. And I had a best friend who I won't share his name, but he was in the 12-step fellowship,
Yep.
and he could see how sick I was. And he, like, there was a point where I just didn't want to be here
Yeah.
and clean. And instead of, staying clean, I chose to get back on heroin after 4 years
Okay.
of being
Yeah.
clean after having, and that's when the addiction started all over again. And he noticed that I couldn't get clean by myself. So he presented me with his 12-step fellowship. It took me about a year or so to grasp, like to actually
Yeah.
get on board with. But he definitely implemented that um around that time. Okay, sorry, James.
You're
Bye,
good.
son.
No problems, Macca.
Sorry, my son's just leaving. He's just walking out the door.
No problems. All good. So you had your children and you stayed clean for 4 years,
Yep.
and then but you weren't well mentally, and you felt that going back to heroin was a choice that you needed to make.
Well, to be completely honest, James, while I was doing the interferon, I had a girlfriend who was helping me take my kids to school. So they were going to. So this is when they
Yeah.
were 2 and she was doing most of the work for me because I just couldn't get out of bed. The interferon
Yeah.
really on my ass, um, and I was told that that was going to happen. Like
Yes.
headaches, like it really, really put me on my ass. Like I said, there was
Yeah.
times where I thought I was going to make it. That's how sick I was through the interferon. So I was pretty much bedridden for those 38 weeks. So I
Wow.
already not taken responsibility of my children because
Mm-hmm.
of health reasons at that time. So it was really easy for me to transition them back into addiction because it meant that I didn't have to continue. And now that I look back and it continued that responsibility of being a parent, which was what I was running from the whole time.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're clean and sober again now, and how long have you been clean for, Macca?
So today I'm clean 5 years, 11 months, and 8 days.
Yay! Congratulations! Almost
Yeah.
6 years.
Almost 6 years. Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah. So what has your sobriety brought to you?
Oh my God. I don't know where to start with it because, like, the program promised me so many things. I didn't expect to get what I've gotten. Like, it promised me
Yep.
so many things, my kids back and stuff, but it didn't. It didn't say the emotional, everything that comes with it. So 7 years ago, I walked into the fellowship. My dad passed away 7 years
Yes.
ago,
Yep.
and that's I was broken and rock bottom and found myself in homelessness. With a really domestic violence partner that I was escaping for 5 years. Um,
Yes.
so what it brought me, oh my God, what a massive question. Coming in 7 years ago, it brought me direction. It
Yes.
brought me to view that I didn't want to use anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
was stuck in a really serious domestic violence relationship that I knew cooked. I couldn't get out of it. So
Yeah.
needed something to give me direction. I needed something to unnormalize what I had normalized my whole life, and that was DV, being a criminal. All that was normal to me. I had
Yeah.
no idea that people suffered from the disease of addiction and that we all, had these same trained, set thinking that, crime, drugs, and all that kind of stuff that comes with it behavior is always the same thing. So I walked into the rooms of narcotics. First I went into the rooms of Windana. So an
Yes.
AOD. Let me go back a bit, actually, James, because
Yeah.
what I
Yeah. All
haven't.
good.
Um,
Yep.
I got into NA was I lost my kids. So I ended up being
Yes.
in the same position where my parents were and
Okay.
finding my kids when they were 9, the same
Mm.
age my parents lost me in the system somewhere. Like I said, I can't remember exactly how I was lost in the system, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found the exact same position, you know?
Yeah.
So for me,
Yes.
it was like everything that I'd said, I'm not going to be like my parents, I'm not going to do the same thing, happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
As
it's
in, your children got taken away, and also you're in a relationship where domestic violence is part of it.
correct. And I could literally visually see, fuck, I've done exactly what my parents had done and not knowing that, of course, that was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? If that's all I know, that's what I'm going to follow, right? Had
Yeah.
no idea that. So coming into the fellowship, and I'll be honest, I was really defined in the first 2 years of my recovery. I didn't pick up the program,
Yep.
and I really felt what the pain felt clean. So that guilt and that shame started kicking in clean. And then
Mm.
I just up again, and for the first 2 years of being in recovery, I just couldn't put the drug down because I was
Yep.
just in so much guilt and recognition that I'd done exactly the same as what my parents did. And that was a really big kick in the guts. Like I was like, fuck, I was talking all the talk about changing this generational pattern, but I
Yes.
was seeing that I was following the exact same one.
So
You
you
know,
could recognize that you needed to make a generational change.
I could say it, like I was talking
Yeah.
it and I was
Yep.
speaking it, and I
Yep.
could understand that I needed to do that, but I just didn't have the tools to do that. And so I just thought I was doing the right thing, not realizing that my parents were in the same situation on drugs,
Yep.
you know, not knowing what to do. They just had no other knowledge.
Yeah. So you went to Windana.
Correct. I did Windana for 10 days. My kids were
Uh,
taken off me by DHS. So DHS
yep.
stepped in. Obviously, I was too fucked and not fit to look after my kids, which was the best decision they made. Like, I'm
Yeah.
5 years
Yep.
clean. In hindsight, I look back and go, that was the best thing that ever happened to me and my kids, because I wasn't
Yes.
going to admit that I shouldn't have had. That was not going to be the case. I was going to
Yep.
continue to pretend to show people that I was doing right, even though I was
Mm.
fucking so bad. So
So what
DHS.
those first few days at Windana must have been very heavy emotionally for you.
I was under the impression that they were going to go into the system. I had no idea that I was going to battle those 10 days and get my kids back, but I
Yep.
definitely thought I was going to go into the system. I didn't have a family that was supportive and that wanted to
Yes.
take.
Mm.
They were like, you got yourself into this mess, and they were very much heroin. They were totally against the heroin addicts, so they were okay with any other drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the fact that I had touched heroin was like the
The
devil's
stigma
drug.
of heroin was the big no-no. Yeah.
You were like fucked. You were like the worst of the worst, the scum of the scum. If you're on heroin, and all my family pretty much disowned me and said, "I can't believe you're a heroin," and more so, they couldn't believe that I hid it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hid like a functioning addict. I don't remember ever being on the not in front of them. That wasn't my story. I would hide it so much that they
Yes.
had heroin was my story.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I came into the rooms of NA, and
At
I
the
just
same
remember
time as you went to Windana. So you had the Windana, you had the 10 days, and then
at the
that's
10
when
days.
you discovered NA.
Well, they showed me NA. They had H&I
Yep.
in Windana, and so they presented NA, and then I'd gone, oh my god, this is what my friend was showing me for the past year. Like this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
at that time, like if I look back, I'm like, fuck, this must be a sign. Like
Yeah.
there's twice this has come up. So I found the rooms of NA.
Yep. And
Yep, and
you did you remain sober from there?
not from Windana. No, that was
No.
7 years ago. Like I said
Yep.
before, I relapsed for the first 2 years on and off. I'd get 9 months up, and then I'd be like, what am I doing? It was way too hard to shift from going to that lifestyle to being clean. And in that
Yes.
time, I was in protective hiding as well, trying to leave this
Yep.
domestic relationship.
Yeah.
So I had him all going from place to place because he kept finding us.
Wow.
And the last time I used, or the last time I picked up, which was 5 years, 7 months ago, and 8 days, 11 months and 8 days,
Yep.
was, I was in a position where he was about to kill me,
Yes.
and he said the words, "If your kids are there, I'll kill them."
Shit.
And so I put them in the care of one of my girlfriends. I rang DHS and spoke to them, and I said I need to put my kids out of my care.
Yep.
And shortly after that, I got belted by about 9 men
Oh
and put in
god.
hospital really badly. I won't say I didn't think I was going to make it, but I was pretty battered.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when the police and everyone took me serious, and that was the last time I used.
Yeah,
Um,
wow.
I knew that I couldn't escape the domestic violence on drugs
Yes.
anymore. Like thinking clear, I didn't have any clarity about what I needed to do, and I was in between that transition of trusting anyone in a name and
Mm.
leaving that. You know, um, and it was a gentleman in OCM in the rooms that realised that I'd got severely hurt, and I ended up in safe steps and in a place where, um, child protection and everything was involved in. If I didn't catch this guy, I was going to lose my kids forever.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know, enabling the situation. I didn't know how to escape it. I was,
Yeah.
feeding into violence, being toxic as well.
Yeah.
All the things that lifestyle. So
But you
he got
don't
caught.
know any better, do you? Like your whole life has been surrounded by domestic violence and being horrifically treated. And then you find the rooms and there's just people with a bit of wisdom and a bit of knowledge and that have looked out for you, and they've managed to find you help and get you assistance to help you get better, but also to help your experience get better as well.
The big thing for me, James, is they were showing me love and compassion. Want my
Yeah.
drugs? That was
Yeah.
the massive thing for me. That was really confusing. It was like,
Yes.
what from me? Like, I don't have any drugs,
Yeah.
and they're telling me to keep coming back. They're telling me I love you.
Yes.
You know, I had no idea what love meant.
Yes.
You know,
Unconditional love.
yeah. And that keep coming back. Like, they didn't have to say I love you. They keep coming back. I'm like, what do you mean keep coming back? I'm not bringing
Mm.
anything. I'm
Yeah.
actually not giving these people anything. So it was really fucking scary for me. I'm like, what? And the typical thing that goes through people's heads, it's a cult. It's something bigger than that. Like, what the fuck? Like they're gonna steal me. I don't know what was my mind, but it was not normal for me for people
Yes.
to be kind without wanting something.
Yes.
And I
So
learned
how do
quite
you
quickly.
surrender to that? You've
Oh,
got men there showing you unconditional love, which you would be not used to experiencing. You must have been gone in with a lot of trepidation.
it rocked my world, James. Like
Yeah.
it really, I'm confused what I'd been taught my whole life. Like you said, that's all I've been taught. My caregivers showed me a particular way, and these people were showing me total opposite. So I was really defiant against it. Like I was really like, nope.
I can imagine.
Paranoid word. Paranoid
Mm.
was a word that I can sit comfortably with now that I can use about back
Yes.
then. Fucking
Yep.
paranoid. Like that these guys were either gonna, I don't know, hurt me, or like I just had really bad
Yeah.
um
That they wanted something off you.
that yeah, absolutely. And Yeah, it was scary.
Yep. So you did you feel safe? Maybe not immediately, but you began to feel safe.
I'll be honest with you, James. That's a beautiful thing that you brought up because even at the early beginning, it's the only place I felt safe.
Yes.
Because I was going through domestic violence and I was in homelessness, going from like those apartments that they give people when they're
Yeah.
homeless,
Yep.
where every drugs. I think it's assisted accommodation or something. It's called.
Yes. Yep.
Um, in environments like that, that's what kept bringing me back was the coffee. I thought there was something in the coffee. To be honest, I thought they were putting stuff. And
Yeah.
I a Vietnamese speaking meeting on a Wednesday. So
Yeah.
their coffee was like 9 times stronger because it was Vietnamese coffee, right? So
The hard stuff.
yeah, it was like really hard. I was like, how am I fucking pinging at like 4 in the morning going, hey, and I'm
That's unlike an addict to try and find like the greatest coffee, the strongest coffee at an NA meeting, right? I might have to get myself to that one as well.
and I actually have a giggle with the Vietnamese speaking. My higher power must have known that like I had to be given something that was cook like that was
Yeah, yeah,
drug like
yeah.
to come. I legit thought, and I was paranoid that they not paranoid because I was happy that they did it. If they
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah,
that they
yeah.
put something in coffee. So I offered to be, tea and coffee person, like I would be
Yeah.
closer to the, all that kind of stuff. But
So you do Vietnamese NA meetings?
that's my home group.
Yeah,
Wednesday
right.
Vietnamese
Yep.
speaking
Do
meeting.
you speak Vietnamese?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, okay.
No,
Tell me about
no.
that. That's really interesting.
So it's a really funny story actually. I attached myself to this meeting because back then they could barely speak English.
Yes.
They all speaking Vietnamese when I came into the rooms, and most of their shares were Vietnamese. So I felt like when I shared English, no one was listening. So
Yeah.
I just shared, and it was kind of that comfortability with, do you
Yeah.
know what? We're sharing like they just hugged me, and you could hear their emotion in their shares. Like when they cried, we'd cry with them.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
the emotion side, and you could feel the emotional connection without having to understand what the fuck they were saying.
Yes.
And and to be honest, like I probably spoke in riddles myself, and I probably didn't sound like I was speaking English. So
Yeah.
they all
Yeah.
connect basis of like we need to be here, and also for me having that community of heroin addicts getting clean, because that's what the
Yes.
Vietnam meeting predominantly was. You
Yep.
know, it's where heroin addicts went.
Mm.
Really gave me a sense of that community of, oh, hang
Yes.
on a minute, people are my people, but they're
Yes.
not gonna what's gonna kill me, because by that stage I'd OD'd many a times.
Yeah.
Like I and then come back and be brought back. That was how I lost my kids to begin with. They believed I committed suicide, and my daughter found me, you know, dead. So for me, it was a safety net because these people spoke my language,
Yes.
and not, I don't mean English. I mean like
Yeah.
criminal stuff, and like we could talk about getting off heroin, and I could see people that were getting off heroin, and my biggest fear was the withdrawals.
Yeah.
Like I would before I'd get to that withdrawal. Like um
It's
so I
probably
could,
the language of grief and
yeah,
despair. And I've heard other people talk about this where they've gone to, excuse me, to either bilingual meetings or whatever it is, and that you can understand so much by someone like the look in their eyes or,
absolutely.
not just the language that they speak out of their mouth. And the fact that you can sit in a circle and all share that same sense of desperation and looking for a sense of hope can only be a really beautiful thing.
Well, the other beautiful thing was there was another, like I said, friend who I'd known since I was 14, used heroin with him, all that
Yes.
kind of stuff. Up in that world with him, he had come to NA, and he was Uruguayan, so he spoke Spanish as well. And
Uh,
around that time, another girl who was Colombian, and so this OCM of this meeting said, "Guys, speak Spanish." So we started speaking in
yeah.
Spanish, and it almost felt like not almost, I felt like I was a part of something. And
Yes.
you're the Vietnamese people couldn't understand a word we were saying, but they
Mm.
could feel the emotion and everything that was coming with what we were presenting. And so it was a very much bilingual meeting. There was Spanish speaking in there was Farsi, and
Yes.
there were the three languages that were spoken at that Vietnamese speaking meeting.
Wow. Wow. That's so beautiful. And that sense of community that no doubt you've really, and a safe place that you've really yearned for so long.
That meeting showed me a unity that was beyond what I had. Look, I had seen it through the 3174 and stuff, but it was very gang related. This was the
Yes.
same. To me, and A is the best gang in the world, right? And they
Yeah.
sense, but without the drugs.
Yes. Yeah.
That was
Apart from
quite
the
phenomenal.
coffee.
Well, apart from what was in the coffee, that's
Excuse
right.
me. So, what does your recovery look like now, Macca?
Fuck, it's amazing. So, I've got an amazing sponsor that I've had for most of my recovery,
Yes.
and I'm absolutely blessed to have chosen her. Like I came in like an animal, like it
Yeah.
says in our, like I was very animal like. I was
Mm.
speaking like fucking tough bitch with tough stickers. Like I
Yep.
present this gangster bitch, and I've got tattoos. I'm heavily tattooed.
Yep.
I just spoke that language as well. Um, Throughout my recovery, I found this sponsor who was really kind and soft spoken and loving and caring and
Yeah.
everything I have.
Mm.
And she kind of my mum, and
Yep.
we have this like relationship where anytime I'd speak to her, because I was so used to like getting yelled at or spoken to like incorrectly, or she just nurtured and cared for this inner child that was yearning
Yeah.
for help, and she
Yes.
just child. So throughout my recovery, like I've been very childlike, and anyone that knows me knows that I'm comical, and I'm a kid. I utilize the rooms as my playground, and I say that in the sense I have fun in the
Yeah.
rooms because I nurture my inner child, and I've learned that
Yes.
in you
How
know
beautiful.
oh it's a bit weird when a 44-year-old goes to a playground on her own and there's other children there. It kind of can get looked at really bad. So
Yeah. Yeah.
not do and so I go to meetings, and I'm I nurture that inner child that was so brutally
Treated.
damaged.
Yep.
Yeah, yes. what recovery's actually given me, and I think I love sharing this part of my story, is it helped me articulate what was actually going on for me. Like, I
Yeah.
used to go to doctors and my psychologist and my, my domestic violence places. I was always sent to sexual abuse places, but